Learned your lesson yet, Bobby?
And at this point, let's talk about it now. Changes. What would you?
Where do they go from here? Exactly. Let's start with the goaltending, because we talked about Campbell an awful lot. He's a free agent at the end of the year. He's probably going to want more than Peter Mrazek, 3.8, and he deserves more than Peter Mrazek. I don't know what the other comparables are like. Robin Leonard, I think, makes 5. Could he want that in that range? Do you bring Campbell back, let's say, on a 3-year, $5 million deal? And maybe if you can lower the AAV to add the 4th year, would you do something like that?
You see, I'm torn with this because they're just not out there. To find a guy in that
can work in this market.
It's just not.
The W you don't know is better than the W you know.
There was a name out there to be like, that's the guy.
Other way around.
The number fits, the year, that's the guy. But you know what? Then I look to the other side, and I say to myself, Kyle Dubas took a flyer on Jack Campbell over Freddie Anderson, and it worked. So from what we hear, Elliot Friedman came out and said that they're pretty far apart. And it would not be shocking to see at this point, Jack Campbell may not be back because he's asking for something in the 5s. So I look to myself and I say, are you spending $5 million on a guy who the last 2 years has been great in terms of numbers, but hasn't won? Right? So this is almost like the Freddie Anderson thing all over again. Consistently injured, right? Decent numbers. But does he really have the confidence of his team to win? I can't say that he does. So for me, Joe, it's going to sound crazy. I can see a scenario where the Leafs have 2 brand new goalies for them next year, because Mrazek is done. Whether it's an asset, whether it's a buyout, he's done. The only saving grace is knowing that a guy like Shalgren or Wall can at least back up, because they're going to need that savings from a backup role, that at least you have a capable 3-4 in the organizational depth chart that can back up. So they become a 2-3.
And it lowers your AAV for the goalies.
Thank you. Yeah. So now you're saying to yourself, who's out there to get it? I'm not going to, I haven't really looked at it, but
Darcy Kemper's the lead guy.
Okay, then you're going to give him 6? I don't think so. That's what he's going to be asking for.
Is Marc-Andre Fleury not a free agent?
He is.
That's a guy.
Are you going to go down that route? I don't know.
That's a guy that if it's a right number.
So his numbers haven't been that great the last couple of years, but he's Marc-Andre Fleury. He's getting up there in age. He'd be the type of guy that I would love to tandem with Campbell, but you don't have the money to do that. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Then you look at a guy where you want to try to do the same thing you did with Campbell, but you're hoping to do it with a guy like Georgiev. But is that a lateral move? Is that a guy who can grow in the organization? He's a decent goalie, right?
Never proved it though as a starter.
But that's now you're in the catch-22. Are you going to pay for proven, or are you going to pay a little less for a hope and a prayer?
And what's the price tag?
And he's making 2.4 right now, and he's a restricted free agent, and he's going to cost you an asset.
Yeah. Right.
So Dubas is in an interesting position right now. For me, though, if you're asking me, I don't bring Campbell back. That's already 2 strikes for me. I can't go on a third. For me, I'm running with Wall as one of my goalies next year. I know you think I'm crazy, but
no, I don't think you're crazy for running Wall as the backup. I think you're crazy if you want him to be your starter, because he hasn't had great numbers in the AHL, and you want him to be the bar is not to win a round. The bar is still to win a cup. And Joseph Wall hasn't proven anything, let alone being able to take this team to a cup. So I would not put my money on him whatsoever. As a backup role, playing 30 games, I don't mind, especially if they keep the defense. I thought they have a good defense now that, wouldn't hang him out to dry. So I don't mind that move, but as a starter, no way.
So there is 2 names I have kind of top of my list. I think they have the assets to do it. And I also think a contract can go back to get it done. I'm going in for John Gibson. I think that guy is so miscast in Anaheim.
Again, numbers have been bad, though, the past couple of years. They've been declining. And he makes $6.5 million a year.
but as a contract to go, like that's what I'm saying. You have to find a deal that works.
Like maybe you send Mrazek the other way in that deal, right?
With like with a second, or maybe it's a guy like Kerfoot and something to go there, like because Anaheim.
Why would Anaheim do that, Frankie? Though, why
would Anaheim take Mrazek?
You'd have to sweeten the pot. Like you'd have to give them better prospects, right?
For Gibson, I'm saying you probably have to throw in a prospect like one of your higher. I'm just saying it's an interesting piece, but for me, I said Campbell can't get it done. I move on. They moved on from Anderson. You move on from Campbell.
To go on Frank's point, maybe Anaheim says we'll save $3 million by moving Campbell or Gibson. I don't know, playing the devil's advocate here. Maybe they're like, hey, maybe they're no cap. They're not worried about cap space because they're not paying anybody. But maybe they say we'll save a few bucks, right? It's not a big hockey market there. I think the decision comes with a price, and it's does Campbell do you like Campbell at a certain price? And I like Campbell at, I think the thing for me, I like I like Marc-Andre Fleury. I think from the guy's just a proven winner. I know Joe's big into numbers, but you can't just look at numbers. Sometimes you got to say, let's go by the eye test. The guy's a winner.
Yeah.
He's still at I think, what is he, 34? He's maybe he's got a little tread on the tires. I think the big question is, at what price are these guys coming back? If you can get Campbell a good number, I would have no problem going back with Campbell. I don't know where your ceiling might be limited with him. But if Campbell and Fleury are the same price, my question to you is, who are you taking?
Well, you're probably going to get 1 year out of Fleury, which I'm probably going that route only because you need a succession plan. So if you bring in Fleury, your succession plan is Wall to Fleury, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would be a lot easier doing that, knowing that are you coming back with a 5-year contract for Campbell? Is that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, there has to be a plan set in place to do that. And I think Fleury makes the most sense, even if it's one in a player option I'm taking pedigree over nice guy Campbell any day. So,
and honestly, do you want to tie yourself up with a 5-year contract on a guy that you're not even sure of, right?
No, you don't.
No.
Sometimes short-term deals are good for franchises. In situations. I think at the same price, I think I would also take Fleury, and I think I like Campbell. I think he's a high-quality guy. I like him as a goalie. I like him as a dude. He seems like a good dude, but there just might be a ceiling with him.
We all like Campbell. Campbell could babysit your kids.
Yeah,
but we're not running a nice guy telethon.
No,
we're trying to win a series, and if I have to bring, you bring in a prick of a guy. Hey, listen, Belfour was not on anybody's Christmas card list, but the guy got it done. So
I know, but you need quality people in the room, and he's just a quality guy. That's
for that.
Who knows? Maybe they do. Maybe they don't.
Basically, what we've decided is that the Campbell decision looms large for this franchise, because after talking about it for 10 minutes, we still don't know what direction we would go in. Imagine what they're going to be thinking. It all comes down to dollars, what he wants, exactly. Right? It's what it's going to come down to. Does it make sense for your cap for not just next year, but the year after? How long a deal does he want? All of those factors come into play here.
Just think about that not only do you have to decide on Campbell, he's got to decide how he's going to move Mrazek. Like, it's a lot worse than we think.
Oh, it's a heavy lifting offseason, right? But every offseason since the cap has been flat has been like that for every team. Every team's going to be going through something like this. Let's talk about some of the other guys.
Yep.
Alexander Kerfoot, I thought he was good in the playoffs again, other than Game 6. Game 6 will be forever known as the Kerfoot game now. He's got 1 year left on his deal. I think you look to move that now, because you're not going to re-sign him next year. Get something for him. I'm sure you can get a second or third round pick for him. He's a good player. He got 50 points this year. Can kill penalties. Can play center. I think there's a market for him.
I think guys like that go hand in hand with the draft. The Leafs only have 3 picks.
Yep.
So there might be a guy, even if it's a 4th, Joe.
You're looking to move money. Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking to move money. It's a He had a good year. I wouldn't call it an appreciating asset. That's not fair. I think he's good enough to fetch you at least a pick, but it's the salary that you get back. It's the
That's
aid
right.
that you get back, which is the most important thing, right? So
Yep.
yeah. And I made the point earlier that middle six, I think, is going to look completely different. I don't think there's anything that a guy like Kasha couldn't do moving up, or Robertson coming in now to play, whoever else they sign. It's a replaceable piece. It's a Swiss Army knife, but he's not an impact guy. And looking for that depth, I think there's other pieces for less that they can get. So for me, he's on my list. And thanks, Kerfoot, but that would be the end of the Kadri,
Yeah.
the Kadri debacle of a trade for me. So yeah, he's done. And you know what, Joe? Sorry,
Hey, he's a free agent at the end of the year. Maybe they look to get him back. That'd be great.
I was convinced that Kerfoot was the guy to go to re-sign Mikheyev, and you know how I feel about Mikheyev. You know, at this point, I'm convinced they're both gone.
I don't think Mikheyev's back. I think he's going to get way more than the Leafs can offer
I just
him.
think they're both gone. I just think that they need a different
do.
look. They need a different middle to bottom six, and I think at that cost, I'm convincing myself, as much as I hate to see it, you got nothing from him in the playoffs in terms of offense.
Yep,
it's gone. They're both gone.
I agree, because look, Mikheyev had a great year. I love his speed. He's so fast, and he can kill penalties. But this is the third year in a row in the playoffs his play has gone down.
Yeah.
So someone else is going to pay for him, and they're going to pay up for him, and let them do that. You got to find the next Mikheyev. That's what your job is, right?
You kind of have that in Engvall.
Yeah, and I think they'll re-sign him at a reasonable price.
Yeah.
I think Kasha comes back at a reasonable price because he missed half the year. And just know that Kasha, you're only going to have him for about half the games. But I like what I see. I think it's unfair to judge him on his playoff performance because he hadn't played in 6 weeks, battling the concussions. Before that, he was really good. I would bring him back and see what you can get from him. Kemp is going to be back. He's got another year left on his deal. Bunting will be back. Got another year on his deal. Blackwell, I'd like to see them bring him back. I thought he was a good piece for the fourth line.
I think Blackwell is better suited in a more we didn't get a chance to see him in an offensive role, which I was kind of disappointed about. But then again, how are you going to move some of those guys? But he would have been one of those guys I would have tried with Tavares and Nylander just to see what he can do. Right? I don't know, Joe. I don't know. You've already spoke about 8 guys. It sounds like we're bringing back much of the roster, right? I don't see
Kerfoot's gone. Mikheyev's gone.
I know, but I don't see it. I don't see. I can see Blackwell. He's an American guy. I can see him landing in Boston or something. Another replaceable piece. He was good, but you move on.
What about on the defense? You bring Giordano back? I think I would, because I really like them, and I think he'll sign for very cheap. And I wouldn't play him every game. I would load manage him.
Here's the thing with that. Giordano.
I know what you're gonna say. He plays on the left side, and that
no. Giordano said today, it's obvious I like Toronto. I had enjoyed my time here, but my first priority is to win. So it doesn't mean he's not going to win with these guys, but take the hint. He will look at options elsewhere. Right. It's not a foregone conclusion. If somebody said to you, hey, you can be in your hometown, but, we're only going to offer you $1 million, just throwing a number out there because people think they're going to get him on the Spezza deal. Or a team like, I don't know, Colorado comes and says, well, here's $3 million. Try to replace a guy like Josh Manson that they're probably going to lose to UFA. What do? You probably take the 3 to play on Colorado. That's all I'm trying to say. Yep. So I would not be surprised, and it wouldn't be a huge loss to the Leafs because they have Sandin and Liljegren coming in as regulars next year who had great years.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad as you think because you still have that veteran presence with Spezza. I also think they're going to bring somebody back who actually has one who can contribute. So it would be great to have him back, but it's not a necessity for me.
Okay. Muzzin had a terrible year, a lot of injuries, but in the playoffs he was awesome, so he'll be back. He's got a no movement clause. Yeah. So a lot of the defense I think you're going to find eerily similar to it was at the end of the year. Lyubushkin, I'd bring him back at the right price. He brings an element to the team that they lack, right? No.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
Only because, Joe, again, they put him in a position to fail. They put him on a top pairing with Riley. He can't play those minutes. The guy handles the puck like a hand grenade. And everybody loved because he threw one or two big hits. Fantastic. But his defensive numbers, that pairing actually defensively, was not good.
Yeah.
If you're going to go for it, Joe.
But you're playing him. He shouldn't be playing with Riley then. He should be playing on your third pair.
Joe,
as a third pair guy.
If you're going to take a swing at this, I think even Rob mentioned it. That defense, you need a bona fide stud on that defense court.
Well, that's
the move they need to make.
So I'm going to go there because let's talk about the core guys. Riley just signed an extension. Matthews, you're never trading him. You better re-sign him in 2 years. Marner, you're not trading him. He proved that last year was a blip. He all situation player. Nylander's got a great number. He's 80 points this year. You don't want to move him, but the guy you do want to move, probably, you hate to say it, is Tavares. Tavares proved that he still has it, but he's not an $11 million player anymore. Let's face it. It is what it is. Anywhere. And he's not going anywhere. So that has to do with Willie. So what guy then, I love Willie, but I'm not opposed to trading Willie if it's for a good player. I am not doing the Kiprios, I'll trade him for 2 third liners and a pick.
Oh my God.
That doesn't work for me. You don't win like that. You don't win trades like that. So what's the type of deal then? You want to stud on defense. Do you look to put him in a deal for like a Chychrun? Something like that. That I would. That's
my move I would entertain. But he's a lefty. He plays the right side. I don't know how comfortable he is on the right side. You know, if you trade Nylander, Joe, then you got to find somebody to replace him. And if we're talking about depth, how much more can you take out of the depth before you start saying, well, now these guys can't score goals?
Yeah.
You know, it's again, you're in a catch-22. From what I heard today, here's the difference from last year and this year, I found. Dubas said last year, he's like, it was a different tone. He goes, after the loss to Montreal, he doubled down on this core. He's like, this is the guys, they're coming back, and I'm all for them. I'm behind them 100%. This year was more like I'm going to look at everything and see what makes sense for us. It was a different
tone,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the possibility is there, but again, it has to be, like you said, it has to be the right trade. So a guy like Chychrun does make sense because then you're setting yourself up. Maybe your goaltending is, you make your goaltending better by strengthening your defense. But I think you can make the Chychrun trade by trading either Sandin or Liljegren because they're asking for a young, and thank God Liljegren again was great under Giordano. So now he has more value than he had before as like a throw-in. That could be a deal that could be made without Nylander.
Okay? Never thought of it like that. That's a good point.
I would actually deal Sandin for Chychrun. If that was the compare. Liljegren for sure. Like if I had to choose between the two, right? But now think of your left side as Riley and Chychrun as your 1-2, either or 1A, 1B. Like now it's looking a little bit better, and you don't have to deal Nylander. So I think that's something they would look at first. The other idea I had, and I know Rob's going to love this one. You want somebody with some jam who's shown that he can put up 80 points, 90 points. There's a connection. Why not Nylander for JT Miller? That's a deal I would look at as well. Miller's a little older, right?
He's only got 1 year left on his contract as well.
So does Willie after this year. You're not going to retain him. You're not going to retain him as a UFA. So this is a trade that's probably going to happen earlier than expected because he will walk as a UFA. So that's another example I would look at as a comparable. So
okay, let's talk about the coach because there are certain things I like that he did in this series, and there's some things that I didn't like so much. You could argue he got outcoached again this year. John Cooper, regarded as one of the best coaches in the NHL. Shanahan gave Dubas and Keefe the vote of confidence today. Sometimes that's the kiss of death. Didn't sound like it today. But you've got coaches like Barry Trotz, Peter DeBoer now available. Would you make the move to fire Keefe and look to acquire one of those guys, or would you keep the steady path that you're on? Let's go to Bobby first, because I want a non-Leaf perspective here.
I think I like Barry Trotz. Like, who would say no to Barry Trotz? Like,
he's a great coach. He took that Islander team that was not very good to the conference final 2 years in a row, right?
My question
does his style necessarily work for this
That's
team?
what I was gonna say. Is he? And that's why you have assistants, I guess. But he's more of a defensive guy. Is he going to be able to help, elevate? But maybe that's what you want.
Washington, right?
Yeah, maybe that's what you want. For me, on a macro level, I think the Leafs are pot committed. Frank talked about doubling down, and anybody that's played poker knows at some point
tripling down.
you put enough chips in the middle, there's no point in folding. You have to, even if you know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Even if you've got 60% of your chips in the pot, pot odds are in your favor. You're like, hey, I'm probably a 2-1 underdog in this, but I'm still going to push because you almost have to. I don't think there's going to be a ton of changes. That's why I don't think Keefe is going to be gone. If you said Barry Trotz or Keefe, I think anybody with half a brain would say, yeah, we'll take Barry Trotz.
But do you know how long it took Barry Trotz to win a playoff round?
Of course, yeah. I mean,
12 years.
We know
12 years.
We know the struggles.
He's had 3 years. He just coached this team to 115 points. It was the best regular season they've ever had by a wide margin. I think people forget that too.
Yeah, but I don't think people forget that. It's just this team is at a point where you're judged on April, May, June. That's it. Yeah. Who cares? They could have had 200 points in the regular season. People are like, who cares? Yeah. Win around. So yeah, we know Barry Trotz came from some ugly situations. Those Nashville teams were not loaded with talent, but I think Barry's a guy that he does better with grinders than he will with skill guys. Now, if you're maybe the forwards buy into, that defensive style that comes along with a Barry Trotz, that comes along with a John Tortorella. Maybe they buy into that, but maybe they would, repel against it. I think Keefe is going to stay. I think they're going to give him another year. Again, I think they're just going to keep putting chips in the middle because that's what they've done, and that's what you can't pull your chips out. They're in there now. You've got to keep pushing.
I think one thing that's not being talked about enough is that Matthews likes Keefe. It seems like a lot. And next year, Austin can sign an extension. I think they want to keep Austin happy. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure they've asked him his opinion. And if Austin gives Keefe the vote of confidence, then I think there's no doubt that, right? It's at that point now where Austin he's one of the top 3 players in the game, and he's going to be able to call his shots in that franchise, just like Crosby has, just like McDavid can at Edmonton. He's earned that right.
He's top 3 right behind McDavid and Draisaitl.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Craig Button.
All right. You guys want to get into puck yeah or puck no to kind of wrap this baby up?
Absolutely, yes.
So we got a couple beauties here. I'm going to credit you, Frankie. I think you came up with some good ones. So we just spoke about Matthews, how highly regarded he is around the league. Puck yeah or puck no, Matthews will be the captain before Tavares' contract ends.
Yeah, I'm going to say puck. Yeah, I think there is a succession plan in there. I think John Tavares is as pro can get. I think that he's a good, taking a comment from Babcock, he's a good pro. Good guy, good pro.
Real good guy. Good pro.
Real good guy.
Real good guy.
I think there is a succession plan there. And I think that's one piece that may keep Matthews here. Like, why wouldn't you hand it over to the guy? You know what I mean? Like, he's a leader already, and I can definitely see something where Tavares presents him to see as, take this team to the next level, and he gets the Shanahan Leaf Forever comment he made today. So, yeah, I think it's in the cards.
It's a good point, Frankie. I think they should totally leverage the captaincy to keep him here.
I say Puck no. I think if Tavares offered him, I think Matthews would say no. I think Matthews is good where he is.
I
Being an
don't think so
assistant
at all.
captain.
I think
Being
Matthews
an
wanted
A?
the captaincy when he didn't get it, and
I-
then he mooned the security guard, and it was like they didn't want to give it to him at that point. I think he was gonna get it. I think he would gladly take it. I think
No.
he knows what this franchise means in the context of history and hockey, and he's proud to be a Leaf. He loves being a Leaf, and to be the captain of the Leafs, I think it carries weight, and I think Austin would definitely take it. I think it's a move the Leafs should encourage John to do. Probably even this offseason, I would encourage him to do it. It would take less pressure off him, to be honest.
Exactly. And that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Matthews is ready for that pressure, whereas maybe 4 years ago he wasn't. So I like the succession plan idea. All right, let's stick with Tavares. Puck yeah or puck no, Tavares will be moved to winger next year.
I'll let Bobby go first.
I'll go Puck no. I think he's a centerman. The guy's a centerman. I don't see him moving to the wing. Although he's been struggling, man. I like John, but Jesus, skating, man. That just
I don't know if it's full time, but maybe to take some of the pressure off and some of the responsibility, because that second line had a tough time in the playoffs being hemmed in their own zone. And I'm starting to understand there's a reason why Tavares doesn't kill penalties. You know what I mean? So
he's so good on the face-off too.
I know, but I could see. I've heard rumblings of Marner becoming a centerman. Sorry, Marner is a centerman. Just to let you know, Marner played center in junior. So as long as I've known him, he's a centerman. But obviously, he's flanked on the side with Matthews. I could see. I could see something where they go Matthews center and Marner center, and then Tavares as one of the wingers here and there. Yeah, I'm gonna go puck yeah on this one. I think they're willing to try anything, and I think this could be that thing.
I'm gonna say puck no. I think they keep him at center. His face-off ability, he's still able to produce. Obviously, not up to that cap level, cap number, but I think he stays at center. I know they don't have I don't think they want to move Mitch to center. I don't think they want to move Willie to center. So who would replace him? Kerfoot's gonna be gone. I say puck no. Puck yeah or puck no. Jack Campbell will not be the starting goalie next year. We've kind of beat this one with a dead horse, but
yeah, puck yeah. Simple. Yeah, I don't think he's back.
Puck no.
I'm gonna say puck no as well. I think he'll be back. I think they'll work something out. I don't think they have many other options, so he's got a little bit of leverage there. Puck yeah or puck no. One of Tampa Bay, Florida, Boston, or Toronto will not make the playoffs next season.
I think the obvious is Boston.
It has to be, especially if Bergevin retires, right? If Bergevin doesn't retire, I say puck no to that. I think all four will still make the playoffs because they're all still really good. But if Bergevin when I say Bergevin,
Yeah,
Bergeron leaves.
You gotta stop. You should apologize too.
I know, right? Oh my God, Bergeron. If Bergeron leaves and retires, who's their number one center? Eric Haula? I think they're in big trouble. I think.
Oh, I know who.
Step back. Evgeny Malkin. Yeah, I could see it. But Malkin, Bergeron's cap number is like 6 point something. Malkin's cap number's at 9, unless Malkin takes a significant pay cut. I think teams will be willing to offer him more than that.
I could see him ending up in LA anyways, but
yeah, possible. Yeah, that's a good fit.
I'm gonna say puck no. I don't think Detroit or Buffalo. Buffalo, I think they're both got a lot of talent or prospects, but it's just I don't like who's gonna push. You think Montreal? I don't think Montreal is gonna push. I think those four are still going to be.
I don't think Ottawa's there yet either.
Yeah, no. So Ottawa's maybe the one that is probably closest to that 4 spot. So I still say puck no.
Okay. Puck yeah or puck no, and this is a Darren Dreger special. One of the Leafs RFAs will be offer sheeted this summer. Liljegren, Sandin, Kasha, Engvall. I think those are the 4 that come to mind that are restricted free agents. I'm going to say no, puck no. It rarely happens in this league, so.
Yeah.
I'm only going to say yes because what we're hearing about how Dubas is looked at around the league, like People just want to give it to this guy for some reason. And I think if the Leafs start spending money like we spoke about on goaltending and they make a major move, I could see somebody trying to screw them over and pluck one of Sandy and Liljegren, especially if they don't want to sign a bridge.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think it only happens after the Dubas makes a possible significant move.
All right.
Can I throw one in?
Yeah, of course.
This will be the year that Dubas makes a Masai type move and actually does move William Nylander.
Ooh, we've been doing this one every year. It has a better chance of happening this year. It all depends on if the right deal is out there. He loves Willie. He doesn't want to move him, but if the right deal is out there, I think he will. So I'll go with Puck. Yeah, actually, I think there will be a move out there that he likes.
I'm gonna go with Puck. No, what team would trade like a stud defenseman? Because you need a stud defenseman to win in the playoffs. Look at all the good teams. They all have studs.
Maybe the team that is going to be playing at a university rink that's not even allowed to put their logo at center ice.
Yeah,
that's already mentioned. Their guy is in trade talks.
but Chikrin's not a stud. Like Chikrin's a good defenseman. Chikrin's not like a
Frankie says he's a stud.
I think offensively he's obviously.
So hold on a second. Let's. He's not in a Hedman, Yossi, Makar. He's in like that next.
There's very few players like that.
He's in that Riley levels. He also had 18 goals last year, which led in the NHL in defense in scoring. So he can play. Okay. Again, how much stock are we taking that he plays in Arizona? Like, if you put him in a good situation, this guy can be an incredible defenseman.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch Seth Jones at all, but I still think Seth Jones is a guy that a big mobile defenseman. I didn't watch him at all this year. I know Joe hates
$9.5 million.
He hates his numbers, but that's what studs make. That's what.
Yeah, but he's not worth it.
That's
what Hedman makes. I'll take Hedman at 9.5. I don't want to see Seth Jones at 9.5.
I think you take Hedman at 90.5. We know this. Yes,
he's 18.5.
Yeah, like
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, boys. There's no other better way to end this off here than with this last one. Puck yeah or puck no. Next year, year number 7 will be lucky number 7, and the Leafs will win a playoff round. We don't even know what their roster will look like. We don't know who they'll be playing. We don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but here it is. Will next year be the year that they finally win a round?
Puck yeah, because they will win at least 2 rounds.
Oh, you're really climbing out there, really going out there, Frankie. 2.
What am I going to
win? 2.
You guys know I'm a big gambler. You guys ever seen those roulette tables where it's like red, and you're like, I'm gonna go with
black soon. Yeah,
it's got to be black soon, right? Yeah, sure. I've been picking red.
You've been picking them the last 4 seasons, Bobby. So why not a 5th?
The second I pick red, you know it's going to be black. So I'm going to stay on the black side. I'm going to pick that they are going to win. They're not going to win. There's not going to happen. But I got to keep doubling down. My chips are in 2 now.
All right. I'll say puck no because, like I said earlier, I ain't picking this team ever again until they actually prove that they can win something. So that'll have to be in round 2 of next year if they finally win a round next year. All right, boys. I'm looking forward to the summer ahead. I'm looking forward to not having to talk about this team the next little while. We got some big series. Battle of Alberta, Battle of Florida just started today. Tampa Bay with the Game 1 win. I'm sure we'll discuss that in the next few pods, and I hope you guys, our listeners out there, all tune in and have a listen. And, please make sure to drop us a line, a comment at our YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram at Puckin Pod. TikTok, Puckin Sports Talk. We're everywhere right now. And obviously the podcast, Not Another Puckin Sports Pod, is on Spotify. So catch us over there. Any last words, boys?
I don't want to do this ever again.
But we will, so don't worry. I'll start writing the script tonight for next year.
There you go. It's probably going to be the same thing anyway.
No. They do it differently every year. They are
Okay.
they are an artiste of losing. They come up with something different every year. Picasso, baby. The Picasso of losers. Blah. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.